They arrived without warning. No signal. No translation attempt. No negotiation. Just a wall of metal eclipsing the sun. For 12 silent minutes, the skies above Earth burned silver as thousands of alien warships slid into orbit. Perfectly aligned, mathematically precise, radiating the cold certainty of a civilization that had never known defeat. And then they spoke. Earth is designated helpless. That single word echoed across every satellite, every radio tower, every emergency frequency. It appeared on screens in every language, embedded in every broadcast. The message was simple: resistance is statistically insignificant. The Alien Armada did not threaten annihilation. They did not boast. They simply declared a fact. Humanity was helpless. They had already calculated the outcome. They had already written our extinction into their archives. But what they did not calculate, what no galactic empire had ever successfully modeled, was the fury of a species that refuses to accept inevitability. Because when they declared Earth helpless, humanity ignited the stars. The first object entered orbit at 0317 UTC. Astronomers thought it was a sensor glitch, a phantom reading, a miscalculated asteroid. By 0392 there were 27 objects. By 0328 there were thousands. The United Nations Security Council convened in emergency session before sunrise. Defense satellites repositioned. Nuclear arsenals moved to launch-ready posture. Every major power activated full-spectrum monitoring. Then the transmission arrived. It was not a sound. It was not a hologram. It was a mathematical proof. The Alien Armada projected a live simulation of Earth's destruction, accurate down to oceanic displacement patterns and atmospheric ash dispersion curves. Every city marked, every military installation highlighted, every missile silo pre-targeted. Their predictive model showed 98.72% planetary infrastructure collapse within 2 hours of engagement. The remaining 1.28%, biological remnants, helpless. The aliens identified themselves as the Ver Dominion, a civilization spanning 9 spiral arms, masters of gravitational engineering and quantum war theory. They had encountered 412 sentient species. None had survived opposition. The Dominion did not conquer out of cruelty. They conquered out of order, and Earth, they explained, had reached the threshold of expansion. Humanity's accelerating spaceflight capability triggered what they called preemptive containment doctrine. We were not strong enough to threaten them, but we would be, eventually. So they came early, efficient, surgical, inevitable. Submit. Their transmission concluded. Your biological continuation will be permitted under Dominion governance. There was no arrogance in their tone. That was the most terrifying part. They weren't mocking us. They had already solved us. Global panic lasted 47 minutes. Then something unexpected happened. Markets didn't collapse. Governments didn't dissolve. Riots did not consume the streets. Instead, something older surfaced. The same instinct that carried humans across frozen continents, across oceans in wooden ships, across the vacuum in fragile aluminum cylinders. Defiance. The first official response did not come from Washington or Beijing or Moscow. It came from a coalition of astrophysicists broadcasting from a university observatory. They noticed something in the Dominion's projection. A rounding error. Tiny, almost invisible. The aliens had modeled humanity as rational actors. They calculated surrender probability based on survival optimization. But humans are not purely rational. We fight when we should flee. We build when we should break. We hope when logic says not to. And hope, the scientists realized, could not be simulated. Within hours, encrypted communications networks formed across nations. Long-abandoned Cold War contingency plans resurfaced. Private aerospace companies were granted emergency sovereignty clearance. Artificial intelligence systems were uncapped from ethical limiters. If extinction was coming, we would meet it at full acceleration. The Ver Dominion gave Earth 72 hours to comply. They assumed negotiations would follow. Instead, humanity launched everything. Every satellite capable of propulsion was redirected into dense orbital formations. Space agencies pooled classified propulsion experiments once buried in budget cuts and black projects. The key breakthrough came from a fusion research team in South Korea. For decades, humanity had been close to stable net, positive fusion energy. Close, but not enough. Under extinction pressure, they removed safety thresholds. Reactors surged beyond tested tolerances. 3 facilities melted down. 1 exploded, but 1 held, and when it did, humanity achieved the impossible. Sustained stellar output in a contained chamber. Within 36 hours, fusion retrofits were being installed into orbital platforms. Old communications satellites became improvised solar lances. Decommissioned military hardware was converted into kinetic accelerators. The Dominion observed calmly. They adjusted projections. Human resistance extended expected conflict time by 3.6%. Still insignificant. Then humanity did something unprecedented. We targeted the sun. The Dominion's predictive models treated Sol as a constant, stable, non-variable, untouchable. Humanity disagreed. Solar physicists had long theorized about directed coronal mass ejections. The technology was impractical, too energy-intensive, too unstable. But extinction changes cost-benefit analysis. Using fusion-powered orbital arrays, humanity constructed a synchronized magnetic resonance grid around a segment of the sun's surface. It was crude, improvised, dangerous. It should not have worked. It did. The first controlled solar flare erupted toward the Dominion fleet. It wasn't catastrophic, but it was unpredictable. Their shields absorbed the plasma surge, but the electromagnetic interference disrupted synchronized fleet positioning for 0.8 seconds. For the first time, the Armada's perfect alignment fractured. And in that fracture, humanity struck. Kinetic rods, dense tungsten spears accelerated to orbital velocities, punched through weakened shield vectors. 3 Dominion vessels were destroyed. 3 out of thousands. Statistically trivial, but psychologically seismic. The Dominion had not lost a warship in 312 cycles. Now debris rained across Earth's upper atmosphere. The Armada recalculated. Humanity's resistance probability was updated. From insignificant to anomalous. Direct confrontation favored the Dominion, so humanity changed battlefields. Cyber warfare teams penetrated alien communication frequencies, not to disable them, but to study them. Linguists and AI systems deconstructed Dominion logic patterns. What they discovered shocked every strategist on Earth. The Dominion did not understand improvisation. Their civilization was built on optimization, efficiency, predictive certainty. Every tactic was pre-modeled. Every battle simulated. They had no doctrine for chaos. Humanity specialized in chaos. Swarm drones, thousands of cheap, self-replicating units, flooded orbital space. Individually weak, collectively disruptive. They forced Dominion ships to expend energy in inefficient micro-engagements. Space debris was weaponized. Asteroids redirected. Orbital junk clouds engineered into high-velocity minefields. Earth's nations dissolved borders overnight. There was no United States, no China, no Russia. There was only Earth, and Earth was angry. The Dominion adjusted again. Projected human resistance time 14 days. Victory remained inevitable. But inevitability was beginning to feel fragile. On day 6, the Dominion deployed planetary suppression platforms. Massive constructs descended toward the atmosphere, designed to disable technological infrastructure in a single synchronized pulse. Humanity prepared countermeasures. They failed. The pulse detonated across the planet. Power grids collapsed. Satellites fried. Fusion arrays flickered out. Darkness swallowed continents. The Dominion transmitted a final notice. Helpless. And for the first time, it felt true. But humanity had prepared for failure. Deep beneath mountains, inside hardened bunkers carved during forgotten wars, analog systems waited. Mechanical relays, fiber lines, devices immune to electromagnetic annihilation. In the Nevada desert, a team activated Project Helios, a weapon dismissed decades earlier as theoretical madness, a gravitational resonance driver. Instead of attacking Dominion ships directly, Helios targeted space-time itself. It created microscopic distortions in orbital stability, barely measurable fluctuations. But Dominion ships relied on precise gravitational anchoring, precision, optimization, stability. The distortions compounded. Ships drifted. Formations faltered. For the first time in their history, the Ver Dominion experienced uncertainty. With orbital control destabilized, humanity executed its final gamble. Fusion arrays reignited, not around Earth, but across the solar system. Mars colonies activated experimental reactors. Lunar bases launched hidden defense platforms. Mining stations in the asteroid belt turned propulsion engines into weapons. The entire solar system became a battlefield. And then humanity did the unthinkable. We ignited Jupiter, not fully, not into a true star, but enough. By injecting fusion catalysts harvested from decades of secret research, humanity triggered a temporary stellar ignition within Jupiter's upper atmosphere. A second sun blazed in the sky. The shockwave tore through Dominion formations unprepared for a binary star system. Gravitational models collapsed. Shields overloaded. Hundreds of ships were consumed in radiation and debris. The Dominion's predictive certainty shattered. For the first time in 9 spiral arms, they retreated. As the remaining armada withdrew beyond Neptune's orbit, a final transmission arrived. It was different. Not a declaration. Not a calculation. A question. Why did you resist when surrender ensured survival? Humanity responded collectively. Every surviving transmitter, every analog relay, every bunker antenna broadcast the same message. Because survival without freedom is not survival. There was a pause. A long one. Then the Dominion transmitted something unprecedented. Acknowledgement. You are not helpless. They departed. Not destroyed. Not defeated in totality. But driven away by a species they had declared insignificant. Cities lay in ruins. Billions were displaced. The scars of orbital bombardment etched permanent reminders across continents. But humanity remained. More unified than ever. Fusion energy was no longer theoretical. Interplanetary infrastructure expanded at record speed. And Earth sent a message into the stars, not of vengeance, but of warning. We are not prey. In alien archives across distant systems, a new classification was entered. Species human, status unpredictable, threat level escalating. The galaxy had learned something vital. Arrogance collapses under adaptability. Certainty fractures under will. And a species declared helpless can ignite the stars. Epilogue. The greater fire years later, humanity detected movement at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. Not Dominion. Something else. Watching. Waiting. The galaxy had noticed. Humanity had survived the greatest armada ever assembled. But survival was no longer enough. We had tasted our own potential. We had bent a gas giant toward ignition. We had weaponized a star. The next time an empire arrived, we would not wait in fear. We would meet them among the constellations. If this story ignited something in you, if you felt that surge of pride, that defiance, that unstoppable human fire, then you are exactly why HFY science fiction matters. Subscribe for more epic human resistance stories. Like this video to fuel the algorithm and help this channel rise like a second sun. And comment below, what should humanity ignite next? Because in this universe, we are never helpless, and the stars are only the beginning.